Ayan ay may tungkulin na pinanumpaan. Nanumpa na maglilingkod ng buong puso batay sa tanggapan na kanyang pamumunuan. Bago ang lahat, mamamayan muna. Ito ang palatuntunang maglalahat ng mga tuwirang impormasyon upang magsilbing gabay ng ating mga nanunungkulan saan mang tanggapan ng pamahalaan para sa kapakanan ng mamamayan. Bago ang lahat, mamamayan muna. Maglalatag ng mga naangkop na payo para sa lahat ng mamamayan na umaasam ng tunay na pagbabago at kaginhawahan sa buhay. Bago ang lahat, mamamayan muna. At ngayon, narito ang inyong lingkod, Cora Alma de Leon.
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Please like and share our live video in our FB page, Broad Streamcast Communicators. Follow me on Facebook at Corazon Alma de Leon, or you may contact me at 0918-912-3546. Maganda ho magiging program natin ngayon dahil meron tayong guest, special guest, returning resident, pero nagbabakasyon naman siya regular dito. And si Sonia Roco, returning tourist from Singapore. So magigreet muna si Sonia as co-host. Go ahead, Sonia. Greet natin si Lirio. Go ahead.
Magandang hapon, Cora Alma de Leon, heart and soul of a lion. And magandang hapon, Lirio, na special guest natin ngayong hapon na ito. At sa lahat po ng ating mga tagapakinig dito sa Bagong Lahat, Mamamayan Muna, dyan lang kayo dahil alam natin na magiging isa na namang oras ng marami tayong matututunan sa pakikinig sa kwento-kwentuhan ng tukol sa buhay-buhay. Kaya dyan lang po.
O sige, Lirio, greet ka muna. Lirio Calixto.
Magandang hapon sa lahat at salamat sa pagkakataon na ito na makapiling uli kayo.
Sige. Siya ay nakatira. BF Las Piñas ka ba o BF Parañaque?
BF Parañaque.
BF Parañaque. So, medyo kateritoryo namin sa Parañaque.
Oo, kapitbahay tayo.
Ngayon, ang tanong mo, ano ba ang pag-uusapan? Siyempre, ako natutuwa tuwing may Pilipinong nasa abroad, residente na abroad, pero umuwi pa rin. Kasi para sa akin, na ninanamnam nila kung anong mga nangyayari dito sa bayan natin. And of course, natutuwa din ako na katulad ni Sonia, palagi nagbibiyahe. Sasabihin niya, Cora, I will not join you dahil meron akong pupuntahan. And often, it's either here or abroad. Kaya, yan ang turista ko sa Pilipinas at saka sa abroad. Kagagaling lang niya sa Singapore. So kukwentuhan tayo ng similarity din ng Australia at saka Singapore sa development. So unahin natin, bakit na-decide mo na sa Australia mag-migrate and when was this?
1994, I went there. I think I was drawn to parang medyo pagod na ako to live in a country that was inefficient. I wanted to live in an efficient,
and you had
efficiently
relatives,
run
ganun ba?
country. And then I had the opportunity to migrate kasi it became open to people with certain degree, certain qualifications. And since my training was economics, parang they called it, ano ba yung tawag nila? Basta it became open to economists. So I was able to go there on my own merits, so to speak. Although I had a brother even then there. But I did not need him to sponsor me. I just applied on my own. And it was easy. Within a year, they approved my application.
And then you had a job na pagdating doon, ganun ba?
Hindi, nag-apply ako. Sa Australia kasi, actually, at that time, once you land in Australia, you're immediately given an allowance.
Galing.
Really?
At that time, pero they have changed that rule. Ngayon, you have to have lived there for 2 years. Pero noon, they will give you an allowance. That's enough to live on. So initially, I just wanted to go to school. So I went back to school. Pero while they give you the allowance, you're obliged to make an effort to look for a job. And then you have to
Galing.
report that you are looking for a
Oo.
job. Pero it doesn't have to be an intensive search. Minsan, wala, susulat mo lang yung pangalan ng company na tinawagan mo, but you don't really have to press to get a job or to get an interview, etc. So, but eventually, since I was applying for a job, I needed to apply for a job. I took it na lang seriously. So, within few months, I got a job at the a government job at the department, ano ba ako? Office of Housing Policy,
Mm.
government, part of the state
Oo.
government of New South Wales.
Ako naman, naging visiting lecturer. Parang may stay ako doon ng about a week. Eh,
Saan?
pinag-lecture ako sa
Australia?
University of New South Wales. So,
Okay.
di kumita ng konti
Ah,
para
where was
pambili
this?
ng mga pambili ng iuwi sa Pilipinas.
Ah, when was this, Cora?
So, long time ago. Ano pa ako? Um, I think
Before
nasa
you joined.
DSWD ako noon. Nung
Okay.
naimbitaw. Kasi remember, nagkaproblema yung migration ng mga Pilipina na ginagawang asawa ng mga Australians.
Yeah, oo, there was
Yeah,
a
you
that
remember the time?
issue.
Kasi
Oo.
merong parang mail order brides
Oo,
ang
oo.
issue noon. Oo.
Mm.
Sonia, when were you naman in Australia? You remember with Raul ba?
Yeah,
Oh.
before pandemic, with Raul, we went there to Canberra, which is the seat of government, I think, no?
Oo.
Yeah, the
And
capital.
and of course, my first impression of Australia is that it's really underpopulated. Such a big area of land, and how many
Mm.
the population is really very very small. No,
Oo.
so I think that's also why they can be efficient and they can really attend to their citizens. And I think
Mm.
the last time I went there, I toured. I was so impressed by their healthcare system. Everybody there would say, they will take care of you. They'll remind you it's time for your checkup. No, once you have a surgery, they will tell you. I mean, you cannot
Oo.
say that you cannot be healthy because the government is really looking after your health. Aside from, if you are a citizen, they spend for you. So ang ganda-ganda ng healthcare system. Like Canada, also like those who have welfare, I think their healthcare system is pretty good.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think I like what Lirio said about she was getting tired of the inefficiency here. And that's the same as Singapore. They're very efficient. That's why they can achieve a lot because they do not lose focus of what they want to do. Imagine what they have a cloud forest, a place that they built where there are waterfalls, man-made waterfalls, and all the plants thriving like it was in a forest. And you can go around and look at all the different leaves and flowers. They made that. And then when you go to their night safari, you see all the animals. Na we don't even, they don't have the space, but they provided the opportunity to earn money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see 5 elephants and 1 lion and they have rhinoceros. You don't have to go to Africa. You will see them there. And they pay. People pay to these things. Galing-galing ng concept.
No. Actually, marami sa Singapore nag-aaral sa Australia
Oo.
kasi they provide scholarships at gusto nilang accessible naman talaga ang Australia from Singapore. So, sa halip na pumunta sa Amerika, mas marami nag-aaral sa Australia. And for the Filipinos, dala pamilya, which is talagang boom. Kaya yung mga scholars
Yeah.
ng civil service, nakakarating doon kasama pamilya, ay ang asawa nung isang staff ko nurse. So hindi naman nagtatrabaho. Kaya lang kasama, ina-allow na kasama para normal naman ang
Actually,
buhay ng
secure.
estudyante. 'di ba?
Actually, they can
Imbes
work.
na hahanap ng ibang asawa doon, in the meantime, kasi uso yung mga scholar miski sa Amerika. May pagdating ko, "Uy, bakit may asawang Koreana 'yan?" In the meantime, habang ine-enjoy ang kanyang doctoral studies. Ay naku, talagang mga Pilipino kaiba ang sistema. Anyway,
Pero
to go
alam,
back to you, so ano naging job mo yung after 4 months? Anong nakita mo? Kasi remember
ako,
nasa NEDA ka nung when you left, 'di
ako,
ba?
eh, more or less the same. Actually, I wanted to go sana to a different field eh. Pero so, I got stuck with the kind of job that I was doing in NEDA. Parang I was a policy officer at the housing office of housing policy. So you do assessment of government projects, things like that. Sometimes you prepare yung ano ng what do you call that? Yung what the ministers would present during the uh, their meetings. But it was more ano political eh. The atmosphere was more political, even though kasi they're so mindful of what the minister would like to say. So there was more independence in a way at NEDA. Parang
Hmm,
in government, working for government in Australia, you're always conscious about what is good for the minister to say and what the minister would like.
yeah.
So you
Ah,
sort of bear your
ah.
thinking
Ngayon
in.
yata, do you still have a woman premier o ano? Sinong premier
No,
ngayon?
lalaki na sa Albanese. Prime Minister, the Prime Minister. I don't know who the
Prime.
premier or the at the state level they call them premier. At the federal level it's a Prime Minister. So the current Prime Minister is Albanese. He's a guy.
But the woman
Ah,
resigned, di ba? The woman resigned. Or
That
was
was
it in New Zealand? That was in New
New
Zealand.
Zealand, the recent one. New
Yeah.
Zealand. She,
Oh,
she resigned. She got married then, hindi ba? Recently.
yes.
galing naman.
Oo.
Pero what about kasi Australia naman had an attachment with England, 'di ba? Isa din yung
Well,
relationship
the first
na
letters were English. The
oo.
first,
Prisoners.
yeah. Well, they sent some of their prisoners. They sent them to, I suppose, some camps in Australia. Oh,
Oo. Kasi parang considered Commonwealth countries, 'di ba? 'Pag nagpa-meeting ang UK
oh,
sa mga Commonwealth countries, kasama ang
correct.
Australia, 'di ba?
Yeah.
I
No,
remember nababasa ko gano'n.
there has been an effort for us to become a republic, for Australia to become
Oo,
a republic, free from the strings of the king or the queen now, the
oo.
king now. Oo.
King now.
So it
Oh.
did not. The first time they had a referendum on it, sometime, kailan ba yun? Maybe 10 years ago. It did not win. It did not win.
They still want to be attached
But
as
person,
Commonwealth.
the way they asked the question, eh. I think
Sige. Kasi ano nila, oo.
differently it would have won.
Pero usually, yung mga king and queen, nagpupunta sa Commonwealth countries eh. Kaya nakita mo nagbibisita sila sa mga countries na dati state ng sa Africa. I remember nakikita ko yung mga tour nila. Tsaka ang punta nila, nakabarko lang sila, hindi sila naka-aeroplano. Parang matagal siguro ang biyahe. nag
Yeah,
enjoy sila. Anyway, mga ano lang yun. But anyway, to go back to your ano, so you had a technical position, bale,
yeah.
in Australia.
I was lucky I
Mm.
got the technical position right away. Kasi some of my colleagues, they started at the clerical level. But eventually they rose naman. But I was lucky. Uh, I, I was in housing policy and I was familiar with housing. Kasi they interview you eh. First they look at your qualifications. And you cannot overqualify yourself. So I was careful not to
They will
over.
not hire you, yeah, yeah.
I never told them what my rank was in the Philippines. One time, my boss was asking me, what was your rank in the Philippines? So, hindi ko sinabi. I answered her, but in a little bit elusive way.
What about cost of living? Kasi, of course, when I go there, visit, mag-attend ka ng conference, Tapos nakita ko minsan pinapatira kami sa host family. Yung natiran ko ay ano siya, nakita ko matitipid ang mga Australians, no? They're
Oh.
kind of matipid kasi nakita ko yung freezer niya punong-puno. Mga lumang pagkain na yung nandoon. Sabi ko, baka magkasakit ako dito kapag mga matagal ng frozen foods ang nandun sa refrigerator. But that's an aside. But they're such good people naman if you meet them. And enjoy ako talaga sa Australia. Ikaw naman, kailan ka, Sonia, nagpunta sa Australia?
I went with the travel group and we went to Australia and New Zealand. And
hindi
as a
separate.
tourist, I went as a tourist.
Oo.
And then once I went to Melbourne also as a tourist. And well, because I wanted to see more of Australia, having read how they progressed so well. And then, of course, when I went to New Zealand, I also saw how clean they were. Like, they were so strict of bringing any fruits inside. They will never allow it. You'll get fined if you bring an apple or something like that. So, even
Very
then,
strict talaga.
They have to
Very-
protect culture kasi there's hardly any from plant diseases. They're very strict about keeping plant diseases away from the Australian agriculture.
Oo.
Even in Australia, you cannot go from say from New South Wales to Darwin. You cannot bring an apple inside Darwin.
ayun, yung mga ganyan, oo.
They have to
They're
control the
They're
spread.
so strict about health.
Yeah.
Ako naman nung pauwi ako, meron akong hand carry na bag. Pinuno ko ng chocolates, no?
Oh.
Walang yan nahuli ako sa you have to pay so much extra kasi ang bigat. Sabi ko, samantalang, syempre at the time, di ka naman bumibili sa duty free, nag-uuwi ka. But anyway, karanasang hindi makakalimutan. Anyway.
So did you
Pero
become
enjoy ako doon nung pagbisita ka na katulad ko nga naging visiting lecturer, edi medyo yung host mo papakainin ka ng dinner. Yung dinner na lang simpleng-simple lang. I remember yun, beetroot, ginagawang beetroot,
Kala-
yung kulay maroon, di ba?
Kala,
Beetroot gagawing sandwich, beetroot.
candor.
Natikman ko yun. It's supposed to be healthy, pero sabi
Yeah.
ko talagang matipid tong mga Australian. Sabi ko, nakita ko doon and I think that is why they're able to live well. Kasi pag ikaw magaling ka sa pag-ayos ng finances mo, wala ka namang makitang mga mahihirap katulad dito sa Pilipinas. Yung kaibigan nga namin, ewan ko kung na-meet mo, Sonia, nakapag-asawa ng Australian. She was separated from the Philippines. Dala niya anak niya. Lahat ng mga anak niya naging Australian. Tapos they
talaga?
all live very well. At ngayon nga, she came home dahil yung mga properties niya sa Quezon, magbabayad siya ng tax. Pero yung
Okay.
anak niya, siguro papamana sa anak niya. Anyway, that's another story. Pero what about buying properties in Australia? Do you have madali ba bumili ng properties sa
Yeah,
Australia?
Filipinos, mga Filipinos doon, dami-daming mga bahay. Kasi
Pinaparenta o
I regret that I did not buy a house or a unit. Yeah, but almost every Filipino who is a migrant in India has a house. At least one house. I'm the exception na wala akong property doon. Yeah, kasi they encourage yung home ownership. In fact, they give you parang some help, like they give you for first home buyers, they give you like $7,000, something like that at the time. And then once you've paid 20% of the cost of
value?
the value of your house, you pay 20% of it. You can use it as as collateral to buy another house.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Some Filipinos have several houses. They were forced to sell many of them. Like a friend from NEDA also, at that time, she had like 4 houses. Kaya lang she was forced to sell, I think, I think the market had become,
Oo, it happens. When
additional.
when it's good, bibili, tapos maghihirap, bebenta ulit. At least naman naka-invest sila.
Kakaano sila, they also gain something. But
Mm.
almost everyone who has lived in Australia for at least 5 years, they have a
May
house.
bahay.
No.
How long were you in Australia, Lirio?
Sorry.
How long
How
did you
long
stay?
have you been in Australia?
Well, continuously, I worked for 8 years lang. Dali lang, ano. But in retrospect, I should have stayed longer. In retrospect, why did I wanted kasi to live in Canada. So I lived in Canada after Australia. But
You stayed to Canada.
yeah, but I did not work in Canada. I just did
You
all.
just stayed, visit.
No, I lived there. I just worked once, very briefly. It's harder to look for a job in Australia, in Canada. It's
In
harder.
Canada, yes, yes.
Parang they're so, I don't know, they're medyo anti,
Anti-Asia.
they parang put out all kinds of requirements that make it difficult for non-resident. To my surprise,
Ah.
Canada was going to be a much more liberal country, much more welcoming, much more open
Yung
arms.
pala hindi.
Pero it's difficult the way they process things. It's more difficult. Unless you're an accountant. If you are an accountant or IT,
Madali.
yun yung madaling mga jobs.
Ako naman na-impress, merong bahay na ang nakatira, persons with disabilities. Parang mga 4 o 5. Tapos
Oh,
may isang social worker who's hired
where
to
is
be
this?
parang in charge of the residents. So
In
ito, enjoy naman sila kasi ipapasyal lang nila ang um, PWD, papasyal nila sa mall, ano nila, for the day. And sabi ko, abay talaga mag-e-enjoy sila kasi sa Pilipinas na social worker, hirap na hirap. So sabi nila, ma'am, ako welfare aid lang ako sa Quezon City. Dito may kotse ako, nagda-drive ako. So, I cannot blame them. Nag-enjoy sila. Good life. Kaya sa akin, ano ba ang definition ng good life? Katulad Lirio, nag-decide siya ng good life niya is really to go either Canada or Australia. Siyempre, lahat naman gusto mag-enjoy. Si Sonia hindi na mag-good life kasi good life na siya, visiting, na lang, turista na lang siya all over the world.
Turista.
Turista.
So, are you a Filipino citizen or an Australian or Canadian?
I have both. But not
Australia.
Canada.
Double.
I gave up na my residency in Canada. Kasi, yeah, I gave it up already. I was only a permanent resident in Canada. But they have a requirement to be there 2 out of 5 years. So, but when I was away for more than 3 years, it was
Ayaw
difficult.
mo na.
Well, gusto ko sana kasi gusto ko yung doktor ko dun eh.
Okay.
Kaya lang it was difficult. You have to have a very strong excuse if you were away before out of the 2 out of 5 years kasi you're required to stay there 2 out of 5 years to keep your permanent residence.
Residency.
Oo. So, did I answer the question? I forgot.
Pero they have good medical care in Canada, di ba?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just as well.
People stay there.
It's a little different kasi in Canada, all the doctors are
Paid by the state.
paid by the state if you go there. You can go
Parang
to
doon, parang England.
in Australia, there are some doctors which do not charge what they call bulk bill, meaning they will accept payment based on the what is prescribed by government. So if you go to a non-bulk bill that they call bulk bill doctor, you have to pay the difference. Kunyari, the doctor is charging $500 for every visit, and government is only willing
Wow.
200. So you have to pay the difference. But in
Okay.
Canada, all the doctors have to
Are
accept
free.
the government rates.
Parang sa
Yeah.
England with
Sa
the
England.
NHS. Anyway, siguro the other side, buhay naman ng mga Pilipino doon. Anong nakita mo both in Canada and Australia?
Yun, gusto nilang maraming bahay.
Hindi,
They wo- so they work,
acquiring properties.
they
Kasi
work,
wala silang
they're,
property
they're
dito sa
into
Pilipinas.
properties.
So pag
Uh,
doon, hinahanap-hanap nilang marami silang paupahan. Siguro pinapaupa ba? Allowed
Oo,
ba sila?
napaupa nila, oo. So sometimes even if they only have a parang clerical job, a lot of Filipinos work for the post office kasi
Oo.
maraming benefits. Maybe relatively the rate, the salary rate is not so high compared to other areas of government. Pero ang daming benefits, like if you work overtime, times two,
Oh,
three
oh,
months,
wow.
things like that, and they're able to save. So many Filipinos, they work and then they go home. I mean, this is the average, the median level Filipinos in terms of So they work and work and then they buy. That's my impression. I may be wrong. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
and then
kung
they buy,
accessible, parang they can buy property.
and
I
then
would
they
say
properly.
that's a hedge para if anything should happen, they can easily dispose of the property. Kung gusto nilang umuwi dito,
Oh,
meron
that's
silang
good.
nabili.
Oo. Yeah, and I suppose it yeah, tapos tutulungan nila yung mga syempre mga kamag-anak nila dito, di ba?
Yeah.
Then they also endeavor to bring as many relatives as they can from the Philippines to
To
Canada, to
migrate.
Australia. Oh, to migrate. Although it's getting harder and harder. Now I think you cannot, if you are over 50, the doors are no longer open to
To
migrants.
migration. Okay.
Unless what they call reunion basis, like if you are five children and three of the children are already there, then it's easier to go there
To
if
bring
you're
the two others.
with the
In
two
Lahat
America,
ng
they're not
family.
anymore allowing the parents.
ah,
Hindi na maka-claim. I think they changed that already in America.
Or also, yeah, even sa Australia and Canada, they've changed that. Di mo na makiklaim ang parents. Visitor na lang sila.
Oh.
oo.
Kasi doon, otherwise, they have to pay the pension eh. Yung nila in Canada, they have avoided that. If you bring your parents who are already more or less ready to retire or already retired,
Ayaw nila.
they're obliged to give them a pension.
Oo
So
nga.
what they have
Ah,
avoided.
oo, ina-allow nila. Ako sa Sydney yata yung Taronga Zoo.
Oo, Taronga Suinsi.
I was so impressed. Alam mo naman, ma mababaw ang kaligayahan ko. Pag
Oo,
nakakita ako ng pinapuntahan ko, may zoo. Alam mo, hindi ako yung mga museum. Ang gusto ko ay makita anong klaseng buhay ng mga animals nila doon. And it's so huge yung Taronga Zoo. Parang
yeah,
sabi ko, kailan kaya inaalala ko yung ating Manila Zoo.
kawawa
Hirap
naman.
na mabuhay yata yung mga hayop sa Manila Zoo.
Meron pa ba
Kaya
tayong
ewan ko may
zoo?
improvement na.
Wala na yata tayong zoo eh.
Maganda raw na inayos daw ni Isko ang Manila Zoo. Hindi pa rin
Yes.
ako
Ang
nakakapunta.
meron tayo sa Palawan, yung iniwan ni
Kalawit.
Marcos sa mga
Yung Kalawit.
Andun pa ba
oo.
yun? Sa Kalawit Island?
Hindi na raw
Oo.
maganda.
Sayang
Meron pa yata zoo, pero I don't know if it is well kept na ano. But anyway, yan ang problema na natin dito. Siguro yung nung sinabi mo, mga accountants, gusto nila sa Australia kasi siyempre meticulous na checking kung merong mga nagko-corrupt o merong ni-stricto siguro ang Australia doon.
Yeah.
Kaya they're
Accountants,
doing that.
they're easy to get jobs everywhere. Pag accountant ka, there's always a job waiting for you. Or
Wow.
Yun,
easy to find a job if you're an accountant. I don't know why. Maybe it's much more universal in terms of skills. The skills that accountants acquire are applicable anywhere. Baka, I suspect that's
Oo.
for them to get a job. And but I don't know now. I think even though, despite the computerization of many things, accountancy is still it seems is still a field that
Needed
employable.
skill, preferred skill, oo.
Oh,
Sonia,
despite
meron, dalawa pa lang nag-light sa atin.
Oo nga.
Kuha mo.
Si eHome Radio. Good afternoon po, watching from Batangas. Yeah, that's where they are
Nasa
now.
Batangas, ang iyong.
Oo. And then Mabel Roa. Mabel Roa is abroad, di ba? Good afternoon, Ma'am Cora, Ma'am Sonia, and Miss Calixto. From Miss Calixto's experience, is Australia a better prospect for young Filipinos who want to work and live abroad?
O yan.
Question
Ano mo
siya.
na, affirmation mo na yan, hindi sa'yo.
ah yeah. Oh, well, I don't know what you mean by better prospect. If you're an accountant, and if you're in IT, it's easy. That's easy to find a job. That makes it easy to find a job. But Australia is a rather open. It's an open country in terms of employability. They're open naman to foreigners much more than Canada, for example, in my view. But maybe it's easier to find a job in the US, much more varied. Because there are also some cultural practices that to some extent make it more
Difficult.
difficult for non backgrounds which are not similar to Australia. But English, I think, is a must. You have to speak. Parang they put a big premium on yung ability to write, to speak English, etc. If you are good in English writing and speaking, it's easier to get a job. That's my impression. But definitely if you do accounting yun nga, and IT.
IT.
Yeah.
Talagang many. I suppose yung countries na use already modern technologies, yung aspiring Filipinos, pag nalamang kailangan and if they graduated with accounting at accountant sila, they will welcome kasi they will go there as professionals. Hindi
Oo.
may opportunity na binibigay. Eh
Nursing din.
sa atin mostly Chinese, Koreans kasi tumataya sila sa ating mga casinos. They're
Ah,
running, I think, the casinos and etc. I don't mean to disparage our country, pero reality yon. Dito
they
sa
went,
Paranaque, ang daming mga foreigners na, I don't know, they just work at night kasi siguro sa mga lang sa mga casinos. I don't know. Kasi I don't want to say na yun na nga. No? But,
oo.
sige, moving on, siguro, tatanungin ka na namin na, ano naman ang tingin mo ngayon although regularly naman nakakauwi ka, anong tingin nakikita mo sa ating I Love the Philippines?
Ah, I don't know if we are inching towards progress, or parang we're still inching towards progress. On the surface it looks positive, pero when I encounter Filipinos at the kumbaga at the street level, parang we still need a lot of attitude change. Dito nga, I was talking to our barangay captain kasi I was introduced to him and I was asking him, do you need any volunteers? I wanted to volunteer for any project. Tapos sabi niya, ano bang areas ang mo? What areas do you have in mind? Sabi ko, gusto ko yung civic, ano ba yung sabi ko? civic
Volunteer
minded
work.
civic mindedness, how to improve civic mindedness among Filipinos. Ano naman siya, open naman siya. Sabi niya, basta sabi niya gusto niya yung something that can easily be done. Sabi niya ganon. Yung hindi matagal na project. But I suppose one thing that still is with Filipinos that I sort of discourages me is when people say, every time you present a problem or something wrong was done, they will say pasensya. So I suppose I really dislike that word pasensya. Kasi it's better for them to say sana, oh, hindi na po mauulit yon, or we're going to do this next time, Instead of sasabihin sa'yo, pasensya na kayo, ma'am, pasensya. Lahat kailangan mong pagpasensyahan. Imbis na mag-offer ng solution, what they want you to do is magpasensya. And that's one, I think kung wala yung attitude na ganun, yung pasensya, and people are much more inclined to correct the wrong that was done, or to improve what was not doing well, siguro mas mabilis ang
Progress.
Oo. Kasi, but we're so attached to the word pasensya, to the attitude pasensya here.
Oo. Tamang-tama siguro yung binabasa ko dito sa program mula kay Rabindranath Tagore when he wrote, "Where mind is without fear and head held high, where the world has not been broken to fragments by narrow domestic walls, where tireless strivings stretch their arms toward perfection, where the mind is led forward to thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake." Dapat manggising talaga tayo sa bayan. Sonia, matagal
Matagal
natin
ng tulog.
ginagawa na yan. Si Sonia sa culture and the arts ay talagang
Oh.
marami ng
May I add something pala?
yeah.
Naalala ko. So one thing that is encouraging for me now is to see all these young people at the local government heading the local governments, the cities, for example, even in Metro
Yeah.
Manila, diba? Puro mga bata and puro mga, in a way, idealists, for lack of a better word, but in a practical sense. So parang ang feeling ko, the future really belongs to them or rests on their shoulders. If at least they project, hindi ba, a kind of yung dedication to service, parang most likely wala yung stigma of corruption associated with them. So I put my hope and faith on the future with this development na you have a good mayor in Makati, in San Juan, in Pasig, in Quezon City, young people who are striving to do well and to improve the life of the community. So I hope they will also sana wag lang silang, they should not, ang feeling ko lang, they should not get stuck with old views or of how to make people be more proactive. Medyo may pagka old fashioned pa tayo about, to me ha. Again,
Change.
about our aspirations, about our the kinds of things that we want to do for the future to help this country. I think we should maybe modernize a little bit in terms of the direction that we should take. I don't know. That's my but I'm hopeful.
That you are very hopeful because I've met many Filipinos who have stayed and worked abroad and they don't want to come back here because they've already helped their nieces and them to study. They've earned enough, but they want to stay there and they don't want to come here. So gulat din ako na love nila ang Pilipinas, tumutulong sila, pero ayaw nila yung physical presence nila dito. And yet, there are many foreigners naman who, having discovered the Philippines, they think it's the best place on earth. They work 2 months in Sweden.
May katulong sila dito eh.
Ha? Oo, they work 2 months in Sweden and 8 months they spend the money that they earned in Cebu.
Yeah.
Among the chicken, among the barong-barong, which is such a different di ba, living conditions. And that's why sometimes I cannot say, as you said, we're inching. When will we stop inching? I mean, when will we take the big leap? Medyo matanda na tayo, Cora, wala pa tayong nakikitang big leap.
Ako
Baka ito
hindi lang medyo matanda na talaga. Ang problema ko hindi ako makarating sa mga lugar na kailangang maglakad. Pag nakikita ko yung mga parks na ano, ay naku, hindi ako pupunta sa mga parks. Gusto ko na lang pumunta sa mga lugar na sandali lang makakarating ka na sa maraming lugar. Anyway, to go back kay Lirio, nakita ko na yung love of country, hindi naman nawawala yun katulad mo, kahit papaano every so often umuuwi ka. Meron kang nakikita dito na nag-e-enjoy ka, and I suppose that's family, friends, na hindi karakan mo mai-enjoy sa ibang bansa unless talagang katulad mo may pamilya ka din do'n. So, parang walang nawala. Kung ano yung meron ka dito sa Pilipinas, meron ka ding abroad. Siguro yun ang mahalagang consideration why people stay abroad because they have family over there, they have friends over there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's true, yeah. Kasi lalo na people who raise their children there, who give birth to their children there, di ba? So, and they
Oo.
really become much more attached to to the US, the land of their birth. Very few naman Filipinos who were born there feel an attachment to the
Oo.
home of their parents eh. Siyempre, the culture that they have acquired kasi once you go through the school system in the US, talagang feeling mo Amerikano ka, di ba? Even in other countries, Canadian ka. Once you're part of the school system. But sana, I don't know, what's positive. Ako kasi ngayon ang feeling ko, wala pa akong nabibigay, wala pa akong nako-contribute sa bayan na ito. Feeling ko gano'n.
Ay, good. So,
Although ang
papalakpakan
feeling ko
kita dyan
naman,
at
ha?
tutulungan kita makakontribute.
Sige, sabihan mo lang ako.
Oo. Hindi, sa community at the barangay level, talagang malayo pa ang dapat marating. Noon pa nga sinasabi ni Pat Santo Tomas na dating chairman ng civil service, dapat
Okay.
sa barangay may computer na for use of the people na to gain access para makontak nila yung kanilang mga relatives. Kasi kung gagastos sila sa mga cellphone, hindi naman dapat bigyan ng opportunity maka-communicate sa mga relatives nila para
Uh,
continue contact. What do you think, Sonia? Baka pwedeng maging proyekto yan ng mga barangays. Parang
talaga namang,
continue communication sa mga nasa abroad nilang mga taga-barangay nila.
hindi ba panahon pa ni Valdehuesa, barangay talaga ang dapat ipalakas. To make a
Yes.
strong nation, let us strengthen our barangays.
Yeah.
The unit, no, the unit of society. So, kung papalakasin natin ang barangay natin, na nandun na lahat, ang legislative, ang police, it's all in the barangay, di ba? Kung malakas yung barangay at bawat barangay malakas, lalakas talaga yung ating bayan.
Yes.
Hindi tayong
Yes.
ganun eh. Mas gusto natin yung malaking picture na hindi tayo kasama, na mamimintas lang tayo, na yung ganon, you're not committed to contribute. Pero kung barangay ka talaga, at saka nag-focus tayo, hindi lang ikaw, ako, pero lahat, lalakas ang bayan natin. Sa tingin ko. Ngayon, I got the idea.
Natuwa nga ako kasi yung aming mayor dati, si Edwin Olivares, na ngayon ay congressman, siya ang nagsimula ng bagong Paranaque. Ngayon ginagaya na bagong Pilipinas. Nagsimula na kami na bagong Paranaque. Kaya sabi ko, magandang buong Pilipinas na ang baguhay natin para ay naku, ang ganda, may nag-comment na Sonia.
Yan si Presi Bombeta muna. Hello, Presi, at saka si Maluyu. Good PM po. Tapos sa eHome Radio, we need very good barangay captains like here in Poblacion, Santa Cruz. Barangay Poblacion 2, Santa Cruz, Laguna. They bought portable handheld radios, installed street lights, And saludo po kami sa inyo.
Yes. Affirmation na yun. Thank you, thank you. Kasi dapat ibalita kung ano nangyayari sa mga barangay. Magandang balita. And I think sa programa natin, we will try to do that as much as possible. Ibalita ng mga barangay. Kasi bago ang lahat, mamamayan muna, sabihin ano nangyayari sa mga mamamayan. Napanood ko
That's
sa TV, mga aksidente, yung mga sunog, mga ano, hindi naman sa hindi dapat i-report. Pero siguro yung magandang balita dapat i-report talaga. Kaya let our country awake. Sabi nga, magising ang ating bayan. Anyway, meron pa tayong 5 minutes. Ano yung nakita mo sa Pilipinas from the time na umika last time at ngayon? Ano yung nagustuhan mo bukod sa magagandang restaurant? Maraming restaurant na bago.
Sinong tinatanong mo? Si
Ikaw. Kasi
Ako?
ikaw ang dumating eh.
You mean in the last 6 months?
Yes.
Well, ano ba?
Ano yung na-impress ka sa nakita mo o kaya natuwa ka?
Ang gusto ko nga yung yung mga bata na nasa helm of government ngayon. Bata na who seem to be naman yung have some idealism still in their bones, in their sights. Parang that makes things hopeful. So, ano pa ba? I can't really...
Ang prices, mahal, di ba?
Oo.
Na-experience mo ba mahal ang mga bilihin? Hindi
Yeah.
naman. Kasi may Australian dollars ka.
Hindi. Hindi ako masyado namapalengke, kumakain lang ako. Yeah, of course prices are but it's the same worldwide kaya hindi ko of course it's different if relative to our salaries, how fast is the salary levels parang matching along with the prices. But lately naman I think it has sort of stabilized, di ba, lately. But ano pa bang maraming pagbabago na nangyari?
May mga nakawang ba kayo sa sa village
dito wala
niyo?
wala dito.
Wala na. May improvement sa peace and order.
Oo, may guard dito So walang masyadong you can leave your house. Sometimes nakakalimutan. There were several occasions hindi ko pala nasarado properly yung pintuan ko. But we have our guard. In most subdivisions naman may gate may guard kaya
may protection.
Oo. Ano pa nga ba? I don't know. Sino na ba ngayon ang Department Secretary for Agriculture? So,
Yun, si Chu.
Si
Laurel.
Chu. Is that good news or not?
I don't know him.
Natin alam. Depende sa result. By the results, they will be judged. Diba?
Oo. But, well, at least our Foreign Affairs Secretary who used to be with NEDA is a good guy.
Si Manalo.
Oo, si Ricky. So, he was with NEDA before. We were colleagues.
Anak pala siya ng ambassador.
Rosario.
Hindi
siya anak.
Anak siya ni...
Hindi siya anak ni Rosario. Anak ba? Hindi.
Hindi, stepson. Si Armando Manalo. Armando Manalo is his father. Who was also an ambassador.
Ni Ambassador Manalo, di ba, yung babae?
Rosario Manalo.
But she's spiritually his mother. So,
kasi maliit pa siya naman nung napangasawa ng father, maaga na byudo.
Bata pa siya namatay na yung
ambassador.
But it's good that Bong BBM.
At saka hindi, career.
Career
siya.
Nag-retire na siya long before. Him so far. And ano pa ba? What's good about...
At bata pa. More or less.
Yeah. Yeah, he's already in his 70s, I think. Early 70s.
Sa amin, bata pa yun. Sige. Meron pang nag-light, Sonia. Basahin natin.
Si Joanne Mendoza, kasama nila, hi, good afternoon. Kasama nila Edlin. Dwight Lee Reyes, magandang hapon. Nandiyan kayo lahat sa Batangas, ano? Rins Montiero, good afternoon. And Nad Manalo, magandang hapon po from Santa Cruz, Laguna.
Thank you, thank you. At
Salamat.
merong nanonood, nakikinig sa atin. So, Sonia, goodbye na tayo. Magpaalam na. Magpaalam ka na.
Ito na, tapos na isang oras. Minsan parating kulang ang isang oras kung talagang nagtutong buhay tayo. No? Kasi buhay natin, haba na eh. Papasalamat ako sa iyo, Lirio, na nakilala kita. At yan pala.
Thank you. Pleasure is mine.
Kahanap siya kung paano siya mag-contribute. Ayan, meron nang tatanggap sa iyo si Cora.
Sabihan mo lang ako, Cara. I have a lot of free time.
Salamat.
Actually, maraming lugar sa atin na pwede kang makakontribute sa mga barangay. So, siguro pag nagkaroon ng meeting ang Save the Parañaque River, ay aanyayahan ka para maging resource person. Yun ang
Sige.
kategorya mo. Resource person sa mga samahan para mag-a-advise ka. At para sa mga nanood, nakinig sa atin, itong binabasa kong palagi, prayer for the nation. Lord, let me be the change I want to see, to do with strength and wisdom all that needs to be done, and become the hope that I can be. Set me free from my fears and hesitations. Grant me the courage and humility. Fill me with spirit to face the challenge and start the change I long to see. Even if I'm not the light, I can be the spark. In faith, service, and communion, let us start the change we want to see, the change that begins in me. So pag-welcome ko sa iyo, Dirio, ay isipin natin itong prayer for the nation at kung ano magagawa natin sa pwedeng mga pagbabago na gusto nating mangyari. Maraming sa inyo. Salamat sa inyo. Kay Sonia Roco, ating co-host, and of course, sa ating panahong special guest, Lirio Calixto, na galing pa sa Australia at nandito ngayon, nagbabakasyon. Bakasyonista.
Salamat.
Meron pang nag-glide.
Salamat sa
mga kasama pala ni Edlin, si Emily Chuanang. Hello po from Ma'am Sonia and Ma'am Corazon. Mylene, good afternoon po and hello. Hello, Abe.
Thank you.
Okay,
Sa ulitin. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Inyong napakinggan at natunghayan ang Bago ang Lahat, Mamamayan Muna. Sa pamamagitan pa rin ng inyong tulay sa tunay na pagbabago, ang Broad Streamcast Communicators. Hanggang sa muli, maraming salamat po.